Coming to you live inside Crozier Oval, Lismore. This is round 12 NRRRL action for 2019 between the Northern United and Tweed Coast Raiders. Tweed Coast, the NRRRL is proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au today or download the app. Gamble responsibly. Dwayne Neville here with Nathan Crozier. There's something that should be known to the viewers, which was very, very tragic that happened this past evening.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne. Bit of a sombre start here this afternoon. We've lost one of our good young players in the Northern Rivers competition, young Timothy Watkins from the Mullumbimby Club, tragically killed in a hit-and-run accident last night. Personally, my thoughts go out to obviously him and his family, to people like Adam McKenzie and Shane Deem involved in the club there. Guys have been involved in that club for a long time. So, boys, we're thinking of you. It's really hard times, and just feeling the love from everyone here in Lismore at the moment and everyone around the group.
An absolute tragedy that was, mate. And of course, the game between Casino and Mullumbimby today has been called. May his loved ones and friends and his teammates find.
Yeah. Find some peace in.
Find some peace in.
Bit stuck for words here, but let's get into the action now. We've got Tweed Coast obviously running from sort of left to right on your screen. Big day for them this afternoon, Dwayne. They're really backs to the wall here at the moment. They got a lot of injuries in the club. They snuck a win last week by a point against the Turkeys at Kyogle. Trying to keep some sort of momentum going heading into the latter part of the season, but they're real backs to the wall tonight against a very dangerous football team in Northern United.
Of course, Northern United, they had that very impressive win against the Byron Bay Red Devils last week, 46 points to 26 at Red Devil Park. So as we got underway here in the first minute of action between Northern United and Tweed Coast, we'll give you the tail tape between the two teams. And some big changes, some mass changes for both teams coming into this contest. Isaiah McKenzie occupies the fullback position with Godfrey Swain, Clarence Kelly and Fred Pitt occupy the centre positions, and they're in the back line with Will King. Walter Kelly and Evan Hickley are in the halves. Dion Jarrett, Jamal Roberts and Kurtley Caldwell are in the front row, and in the second row, a mid-season pickup there from the Red Devils, Joey Gordon occupies the second row with Will James. Alwyn Roberts locks the scrum. Willie Hammond, Gian Breckenridge and Tian Hickling are on the bench. Who do we need to know about Tweed Coast there, Crozier?
Yeah, the Raiders, it's almost an unrecognisable side from their grand final team from last year. But at fullback, we've got young Ollie Singh. On the wings, we've got Oliver Lindley. And on the other wing, Oscar Clark. The centre pairing of Dom Murray, super impressed by him a couple of weeks ago against Moolumbar. He'll be partnered with Lockie Dawson. In the halves, we've got Owen Fredericks and Harley Peach. Front row of Luke Toon, Dan Willoughby and Cole Patience will come in off the bench and start. The back row of Kalani Hensby, Connor Hickey and Big Daniel Ross moves from the front row back into that number 13 jersey. And the bench, Cam Pollard, Jimmy Armstrong and Chris Cameron. So
as we get into live action here, 2.5 minutes in here at Crozier Oval between the Northern United and Tweed Coast Raiders, as we see the kick go downfield. Should be greeted there by Ollie Singh, who's last time we saw him play there, Crossy, a couple of weeks ago on the live stream between the Moolumbar Mustangs. He was very impressive from 5'8", but then it'll be interesting to see where he plays from the number 1 position there in the fullback.
Yeah, man, it will be. He's obviously gone there through necessity. As we see Patience come away.
Oh, let's see what's come out of this. Oh, could this be a potential try out of nothing here for Northern United? No, I think it's just
I think it was knocked down, mate. I think by one of the Northern players, and looked like it was Fred Pitt chased it there. But yeah, getting back to the Raiders there, as you say, mate, we called that game against Moolumbar there a couple of weeks ago, and Moolumbar put them to the sword in the end. Although you and I both mentioned during the call that it didn't really feel like it was that it was that much of a hiding as far as the game went.
Exactly. So this will be now played by, that's Owen Fredericks. Taken there in the first phase there by McKenzie. About just inside 10 metres on the Tweed coastline. This is taken up here by, that's Cole Patience, one of those very impressive front row forwards a couple of weeks ago. And they've just considered the penalty there, Northern United. So coming into this one, the last time these two teams played, and just to be, just in my personal opinion, I don't think we're going to see it 64-0 scoreline as it was in the opening round. We put that down for Northern United in the first round, just getting the cobwebs out for the first part of the season, and on the back of Tweed Coast having that impressive grand final win, I reckon this is going to be a very much close contest today. If form is anything to go by.
Absolutely. This is as we see the Raiders down the left edge. Here goes Murray.
So that's Daniel Ross into the hands of Murray. If anyone knows how to score, it's him. He just does well to beat about 2 or 3 players. Speaking of there, Don Murray there, Crozier, in a game last week, he ran 90 metres coming close to scoring, so he's no stranger to the try line. Don Murray doesn't. That was Dan Ross. Gets it into the hands now. That's Dan Willoughby playing the short side into Harley Peachy. So they're just about 7 or 8 metres out from the Northern United line. This is now going into the hands now. That's Owen Fredericks. Fredericks goes himself over the white stripe there, Owen Fredericks. And in the space of the first 5 minutes, it's going to be the first points for the Tweed Coast Raiders at 4-0.
Good first touch, good first set there from Fredericks. He had a carry out of trouble off a scrum off his own 10-metre line, and then they made some good inroads down that left-hand side with Don Murray, as I mentioned. They had to play the ball half a metre out, and then Dan Willoughby he showed his class. Nice long pass out in front. Fredericks coming onto it, ball in 2 hands, showed inside and out, and just went straight through and got across the line just adjacent to the post. Good start for the Raiders.
So it's what the Raiders needed, getting the first points early here at 4-0 at Crozier Oval in Lismore. Heading into this one, Northern United are currently sitting in 8th position with a 4-win and 6-loss record. If they get the win today, Crossy, they'll bump up to 7th, though they will just remain tied if Murray's somehow get the job done against Coogin, they will remain on 8th. So this will... who's this? I think that's... as the kick goes over, that's now making it 6 points.
That'd be Ollie Singh, I think.
Yeah, Ollie Singh. So 6 points to nil now. First try on the board there for the Tweed Coast Raiders.
And I think, Dwayne, as you're sort of alluding to there, mate, this is a really important game for both clubs.
Of course.
Northern United will feel like they really need to win this one to stay in touch and keep those semi-final hopes alive. From you and I having a look at the table, there's a bit of a log jam in and around sort of 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. I think there's sort of top 3, although nothing's done until it's done, but they seem relatively safe of playing finals football. As we see a big kickoff here out of the full.
Massive kick, and that's just gone over on the full. And so this will be a 50-metre restart now for the Tweed Coast Raiders. As you were just making mention there, Crossy, Tweed Coast are currently in 4th position. And due to the fact that Ballina had a big win against Kyrgyz yesterday, I think that score was 52 points to 4. They'll win or lose, that's where they'll remain. Currently with a 6-win and 4-loss record. Of course, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, one of those losses was the fielding of an unregistered player in that game against Mullumbimby. So how much influence they'll have at the end of the season, time will tell. Their last start winners, as Crossy just mentioned, 19 points away then against the Kyrgyz Turkeys at New Park. So this is Kyle Patience. Met in the tackle there by Joey Gordon. As I mentioned, he was a late mid-season pickup from the Byron Bay Red Devils. They're playing short side now into Harley Peachy. This will be played now by Willoughby. Into the hands outside, Patience. Oh, he's just crunched in there by Dejan Jarrett. This is Hickey. And this will be now the 3rd tackle. They're about 10 metres out now from the... Sorry, that's actually now the 5th tackle. 10 metres out now from the United Lions. Going into the hands of Fredericks. That's into Singh. They're playing on the short side. Oh, looked promising there for Oliver Lindley, but just going to fall just short. 10-metre scrum feed now for the United.
Good experience shown there from Billy King, the left winger there for Northern United. He could have easily tried to play at that. We've probably seen Bill do that in years gone by and end up running 95 metres, but you heard on the side of caution that time, and I think it was a good decision.
The head-to-head contest at Tweed have won 4 of the last 5 between the two teams, and the last 3 of them straight. And a bit of a unwelcome record for Northern United. If you combine the last 2 games between Coast, 64-0, and the last game in 2008, then across it was 58-2. So it was a combined total of 122-2. So I don't think we're going to see much more one-sided than that today. I reckon it'll be a bit closer than that, but it's pretty unwelcome when you look at the head-to-head stats in the last 2 games.
Absolutely. Well, they've got the Raiders at a good time as they go right.
Yeah, so this is a nice run there. I think that's there from He offloads it over the head. That meant for the hands of Evan Hinckley, and that's going to be Fred Pitt in the tackle. He's opting for one-on-one. Won't get there. So this will be Oscar Clark to play it on the pickup, 45 metres out from the Northern United line. That's about 10 metres there from a nice run there from Daniel Ross, getting about 10 metres on the second phase. And they're going to be gifted some extra metres. Another penalty conceded there by Northern United.
Well, mate, I come here today, and I had a good chat with the ex-Raiders halfback from last year, Tane Robinson, before the game, and he mentioned the number of injuries that the Raiders do have, and I thought to myself, Northern United have got the Raiders at a good time here today, and they're a really, really big chance. However, the way they've started, a little bit of lack of respect for the football, a couple of penalties. If they really want to be in this game, they've got to right those wrongs very quickly. So
this is patience. About 9 metres out now from the United line, getting in the hands of Daniel Ross. Into the hands now of Fredericks. Back into the hands, that is Jimmy Armstrong. He's brought down there. I believe he was one of the try scorers last week against the Turkeys. This will be now played by Willoughby. Into the hands now, that's Hickey.
They've got big numbers left here.
Yeah.
If they go left, there could be trouble.
Nicely taken in the tackle there by Owen Roberts and Jarrett on the short side. Gets it into the hands of Peachy. Brought down there. They haven't really gone off that 10-metre line in this patch of 6 here for the Tweed Coast Raiders. This is going to be Fredericks. And they're liking that right side there, Crozier. You'd think they might go on this play. No, Willoughby goes himself, kicks across, and well read in defence there by the United. But I think the referee's caught a bit of a hint of a knock on, so the Raiders will have it back about 10 metres out from the United line.
Oh, and that was bad luck for Mackenzie. It was really good positional play. The young fullback was in exactly the right spot where any good fullback should be, but he just come up with a little bobble, and he's given the Raiders another set of 6. I mentioned earlier in that set, Dwayne, the Raiders had big numbers to the left, and it was actually really good defence from Fred Pitt. He got up hard and got in the passing lane of the Raiders and shut that down. So good experience there shown from Pitt.
So this will be now played by Harley Peachy. Sorry, this will be Aaron Fredericks to play it. That's now Peachy into the hands. That's nice run. That's gone back into the hands of Don Murray. As I mentioned about a few minutes ago, he's no stranger to that try line. Although they handed it back to Northern United. So let's see what Northern United could do with the statistics deep inside their own half there, Crossy.
Well, that's good, and that was Pitt again. Murray stepped off his left foot, and Pitt hit him with a pretty good, strong right shoulder and forced the error. So now let's see how United can come out of yardage and get forward and get to a kick and just get back on track here.
United, the bulk of their tries against Byron Bay last week came deep inside their own half a field, including some pretty impressive 85 to 90 metre runs. And off the back of some Byron Bay Red Devil errors. That looked like Willie King with just a big gap. He's only got one to beat. Back into the hands. That's going into the hands now. Walter Kelly goes himself. Should get this one under the black dot and even this one up. Nice try there by Walter Kelly. 6-4 now to the Raiders.
Oh, here they go. Northern United. That's pretty to watch. That's why we come here this afternoon, to watch them chance their arm out of their own end. They went early pass to early pass. They found their inspirational leader in Clarence Kelly, and he found his old mate down that left-hand touchline, Bill King. And Billy King was away, and I think it was Walter Kelly pushing up in support. You could tell, Dwayne, from where we're sitting up here on halfway, that by the time Billy King got that ball and taken about 10 metres downfield, you could see it was going to be a try for all money. Threw a good inside pass to Walter Kelly, and he scored under the post.
Absolutely. So it's now going to be level pegging in the inside the first 15 minutes here at Crozier Oval in Lismore. Trust you're enjoying the coverage wherever you may be watching. Of course, on Markoff Media Sports, as well as via the NRRRL Facebook page. Proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au today for all your betting information. Smartphones and tablets, download the app today. Of course, gamble responsibly. Walter Kelly, of course, he is no stranger at Crozier Oval, being an ex-Morris brother Ram. He's also played a bit of under-23s rep footy in the 2017 campaign.
Well, we watched him last year, didn't we, in the reserve grade semi-final series for Morris Brothers, and he was levels above the rest of that competition. I was sort of scratching my head as to why he was playing reserve grade, but here he is now. He's wearing the number 6 today for Northern United, and he's their first try scorer.
So this will be Joe Gordon to send this one over, thus making it now 6 points apiece here at Crozier Oval in Lismore. And it's already being a telling contest that if Northern United can just hold their discipline, then we're going to be in for a very exciting game of football in round 12 of action of the NRRRL.
And watching some highlights, Dwayne, from last weekend when Northern United played the Red Devils down at Byron Bay. It was great to see my old mate Clarence Kelly just wind back the clock. He scored one of the great tries.
It was pretty impressive, wasn't it? I think I saw that one as well.
Yeah, mate. He just the half just drifted across field with his back row. Turning Mondays, we see a penalty here.
Yeah, so this is now the Tweed Coast Raiders showing just a tad of ill discipline, and this one should potentially see this on the halfway line for the Northern United with a set of 6 in tow.
Yeah, so for anyone that didn't see that try of Clarence Kelly's last week, just get access to it. And he wound the clock back about sort of 10 or 11 years, did Clucker, in that try. and it was great to see. He was pretty excited about it, scoring right in front of the Byron Bay Clubhouse as well.
So also, I was mentioning Crozier a couple of minutes ago when I said that bit of that daunting stat where it was 122 points to 2. The reason why I think that, probably the main reason why we won't see that today, because Northern United, with the exception of that round 1 game against today's opponents, they have scored at least 16 or more points in every game. So they've showed double figures. The only problem for them is that they've also conceded just as many in their games as well. So half of those games this year was either took by 28 points or more. So they know how to score them, but they also need to tighten up the defence because they also let them in.
Yeah, and that's right. And that's, look, with the greatest deal of respect to the players that played in round 1 and those that maybe played in that second half of last year, I think this is a better United side.
Absolutely. That team against Byron Bay last week. Just another thing I was about to say too. 6 of those players last week that scored against Byron have either scored 3 tries or more throughout the season as well. And only one other player today, being Fred Waters, and not featuring today, was the only other one that didn't feature. So the proof's in the pudding. It showed last week with 46 points on the board against the Byron Bay Red Devils. As we see there, the Tweed Coast Raiders conceding a bit of an error. So this will be now United with a set of 6 right on the halfway line.
Yeah, and this is what can happen when you bring a few new guys into your team, and you're just so used to having those blokes around you, that familiarity of last year. They pretty much had the same team all last year, the Raiders, but this year, a lot of injuries. They've really gone through a tough period. Coach Brent Kite's done a really good job to sort of galvanise them and keep them on track the way that he has. But when you have sort of guys coming into first grade that haven't maybe played a lot, you do tend to see a few errors creeping in, and we're starting to see that now with the Raiders.
So this will be now taken up here by Fred Pitt. So another stat, if United somehow get it done today, this will be the first time they'll have beaten any team that's currently sitting in the top 5. Of course, Coogin being 6, so they'll have. I mean, that obviously they came close against Kyogle. It was, that game that Shorey did at the start of the season. Yep. So perhaps this will be the day they break that duck. But I mean, if they're going to have any serious ambitions playing in the top 5, of course you've got to beat them in the season too. Yeah,
good tackle there from Patience. You're exactly right, mate. They should have won that game against Kyogle, and you and I both called the game here against Casino.
And they came close then too.
Mate, they did. Casino in the end sort of got away and sort of won it late, but they were in that all the 60, 65 minutes. So as we see a kick here.
So a nice kick up there. That's a big one there by Evan Hickling. There are chasers, but it's well read there by Oscar Clark, and they'll have that about 2 or 3 metres away from the Raiders' line. They go the short side here on the second phase of play. He's going to be greeted there by Gian Jarrett in the tackle. So let's see what United's defence can hold up. For me, just seeing 2 of their games and plus a bit of the highlights, this is already a much better defensive effort than what we have seen. But stuff like that's not going to help. It's just their discipline for me there, Crozier.
That's what I was talking about earlier, mate. They're not going to have a better chance than today against this heavily depleted Tweed Coast Raiders outfit. However, they've got to get all those little things right, and that includes, they've come up with a great kick there through Hickling. Tackle 1 a metre out from the Raiders' own line, but now they let them off the hook with an easy penalty. So let's see what they can toss up here in defence.
So for the Raiders too, they know it's imperative that they somehow get more than 10 points. They get a double-digit scoreline today because out of their 3 losses, 3 official losses 3 losses off the paddock, 2 out of 3 of them has only scored when they only scored 10 or less points, so single digits. So, and all their wins have come scoring 18 points or more. 5 of those wins were 22 or more. So they'll need to expose that defence of Northern United there, Crozier.
They will, and I've just seen another error from the Raiders as well, just a forward pass, just a little bit, just a little lack of execution there, probably from both teams at the moment. So I think, Dwayne, the team that's quick enough or quickly gets into their groove first of all, will really put some ascendancy. Here goes Clarence Kelly.
So this is now Billy King there with just the sideline to himself. He has got numbers on the right, but he will not require it. Billy King is no stranger to the try line, and he's got himself another one. And they're now going to be in front, 10 points to 6.
Oh, and put that down to Clarence Kelly. That's class. The old bloke, he might be ageing, but geez, he can still move, and he knows exactly how to draw his man. He got on the outside of his opposite number, and the winger for the Raiders, he doesn't know whether to come in or stay out. He chooses to come in, so Kelly tips onto his winger in Bill King, and we all know what Billy King can do when he gets an early ball with some open space in front of him, and he'll scoot down that left-hand touchline. He didn't need support this time, and he found himself over for his first try of the afternoon.
So that was Billy King's fourth. Thus far, he's currently his fourth try for the 2019 campaign. Has already levelled his tally from last year when he was a Byron Bay Red Devil.
And that's what I was just making the point before, Dwayne. It's going to be the team that can get themselves into their groove the quickest,
Yep.
which is going to set themselves up here this afternoon. Both teams at the moment making a couple of errors. So realistically now you'll have Alwyn Roberts and Clarence Kelly talking to the team about, boys, let's just get 3 or 4 tackles, get through our kick, turn them around and build some pressure.
I tell you what, he looked pretty stoked there when he scored that one, but looking from about, 8 days ago, you wouldn't have been more stoked than when he scored against Byron, I guarantee you. Not quite as stoked as that.
Yeah, mate, it's I did see that highlights, and as I said before, it was a great try, and he would have loved that. Secretly, he would have been really, really proud of that. So good on him, and he's just put another try assist on the board for his team here this afternoon.
So this is going to be taken here by Joey Gordon, potentially to send this to a converted try lead in the first quarter of this game here in Lismore.
And that's come off the forward pass or another error there from the Raiders, Dwayne.
So he sends that one up. He's just brought this one in. Has he got enough accuracy? It does. So now makes the score 12 points to 6. Northern United now have got themselves in front over the Tweed Coast Raiders here at Crozier Oval in Lismore. If you've just joined us, 12.6, and if you also just joined us, we unfortunately received tragic news about within the last hour involving Timothy Watkins from Mullumbimby, who was tragically killed last night, and we can't stress enough, our thoughts and prayers do go to his family, teammates and his friends. Absolutely tragedy, and of course the game between Mullumbimby and Casino today is being called off.
Yeah, we've got Billy King down here, a bit of a high shot. I think he'll be okay, Bill. Just a second if he's got any blood on there. Nothing there, Bill. You can just go back to your wing, mate. You'll be okay. Gives his team a little bit of rest, but they don't really want that at the moment. They've got the momentum and the ascendancy, so they want to keep things going, get to their kick, and really start to ramp up with their defence.
So as we now resume play, this is going to be taken up here by Curtly Caldwell. So they're about just inside 40. So there's been, as I made mention there, Crossy, there was mass changes from both teams right into the last hour or two coming into this one from the team sheets when we received them during the week. But going into this one, there's a few more that have come in since. But there's been about 4 or 5 changes from Northern United's end from that team that played against Byron last week. As we could see, that's gone into the hands. That's gone into Joey Gordon, just shy of the try line, about 5 metres. This is Evan Hickling. They're looking potent here in attack here for Northern United, but well responded there by Oliver Lindley. And it'll be a set of 6 now, repeat set of 6 now for Northern United.
Oh, he did a great job, Lindley. I thought for all money that was going to sit up there and go into the hands of Walter Kelly, but it didn't. Lindley, great job. Really good wing play there, good anticipation. So Northern United, they're going to have another set of 6 here, and don't be surprised, Dwayne, if we see them get to a right side post and try to open up this left-hand side field here to get back to Clarence Kelly and Bill King.
So 45-metre line drop out there. This is going to be taken here by Gian Jarrett. And he's about 30 metres away now from the Tweed Coast line. So you look at the likes of Walter Kelly, Will James and Tian Hickley coming in from that squad that had that big win against Byron Bay at Red Devil Park last week. This is going to be passed off there by Kelly. That's gone into the hands of Will James. And they're just punishing that line. They know they need to get themselves some points here in Northern United when an opportunity presents itself. And that's going in Evan Hinkley. He's picked up. He's got numbers on the right there. He goes himself. Hinkley passes it back in. This is another try. Beckoning now for Northern United. I think that there is Fred Pitt. And this is going to be now an extended lead now for Northern United, courtesy of Fred Pitt, at now 16 points to 6. There you can see on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. They've really shifted into gear now, Northern United there, Crozier.
Yeah, well, they went the other side, didn't they? They got to a left edge, and they opened up the right-hand side of the field. I think it was Kelly threw a really long pass out to the right back rower and Joey Gordon. It took 2 to get him down, but he was good enough to sort of get his arm free and just pop one out the back. Ball was picked up, went out the pit, and he went off the right foot and barged his way over. And United, 16-6 rather, were kicked to come, and this is really starting to blow the game open.
And look, this was off the back of a try in the first 5 minutes there by Tweed Coast. So, as we could say, well, United now, within the first 25 minutes of this one, have already, well, I said they're 16 points or more they score in every game. They've already now matched that. So, what's important now when they table on the like, well, Tweed Coast, they know how to defend well, at least what they're known for. But, you know, points are pretty hard to come by, because another stat that I've just come up with there, Crossy, just I think like it's not even close when it comes to tries scored this year from either team. Well, you look at it like this, it's like 40, currently coming into this game before the tries have been scored from United today, they came in with 48 tries. Tweed have only scored 27.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, again, it just shows the inconsistency of the Raiders as far as having the same squad on the field. I even noticed them with Willow James had a carry on play too. They were at 6s and 7s at Tweed Coast Raiders line, which totally goes against what they're about in regards to their defensive structure.
And when you have the attacking prowess of Northern United, they have 7 players are currently on 4 tries more. Go ahead before coming this one as the kick goes over, and it looks good. So this will now be 18 points to 6 in favour of Northern United over Tweed Coast. So as I was about to just finish off there. So Northern United are currently, before this game of course, 7 players who will score 4 tries or more. Tweed have only got 2.
Yeah, you tend to see that with these really good United teams. They've got some great attacking weapons, as we can see here this afternoon. Let's see how they go at a yardage here. I'd really be keen to see them just to sort of get to an early kick and really build pressure, but it probably goes against their psychology. They're probably looking to go 70 metres. So
as we get into the final portion of the first half, you'd think that if there's any lessons learned, especially that game out at New Park, United had a very similar lead against Kyogle, and as the players just stop there, they need to know they've got to defend this, because no lead's going to be safe for them, especially against the current champions, the Tweed Coast Raiders there, Crozier.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they've got to try to keep playing footy here as they do. They're going to go right.
So they play a short side. That's Evan Hinkling. He's brought down there just about 5 metres short of the halfway line. This is the 5th and last. This will send some hang time on it. This should be greeted there by Ollie Singh. As I mentioned, he was playing there from 5'8". Now he's into the fullback position. And he's taken there about 25 metres away from their own line for the Tweed Coast Raiders. He's greeted there in the tackle there on the second phase. Nicely in there by Jamal Roberts. This will be now played. I believe that's Cam Pollard there. Crossy, I did see a 5. No, sorry, that is Oscar Clark. Of course, Cam Pollard being number 15. So.
Yeah, yep. That's Pollard. So one of the real features last year of the Raiders was their ability to get out of their own end quite well. They had some big outside backs with the Lanston brothers, with Jack O'Brien and these sort of fellas, but none of them are playing at the moment. They're all injured. So even here, tackle 5 now. They've only really gone 30 metres in 5 tackles.
Yeah, it's a bit unheard of, Crossy. When you told me on the pre-game off air that you had some mail that we're going to have some changes compared to the lineup we had, I just counted there. I had to use the liquid paper tape 9 times on the Tweed Coast column there. That's unheard of.
It is definitely unheard of at this sort of level. So it just goes to show they've really got their backs to the wall. We did watch the reserve grade have a win here and have some good numbers. So it does show the strength of this great Tweed Coast Raiders club from the point of view of some good depth and some players buying in. So they've still got the numbers. However, they have lost a heap of quality out of their top end.
So as this heckling gets into the hands, that's Will James. He's held there 40 metres out. So Tweed Coast Raiders have held their nerve in defence thus far, holding him inside their United zone 40. Oh, a bit of slippery feet there by Walter Kelly. But you can see it here. They're just so potent on the live breaks. Kick goes up. It's going into potentially the heads of Walter Kelly, but it's well taken there by Oscar Clark. And Tweed Coast Raiders there off the hook on this occasion.
Oh, that's what they can do. They slipped over. I think it was might have been Kelly slipped over.
That was there. Clarence Kelly there involved in the tackle there. Crozier, their tries just, well, not on this occasion, but their attack just comes from anywhere inside their own half of field. I haven't seen anything like it. But in this occasion, that discipline just creep there for United. It's going to be another penalty for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's always, mate, when you come up against a team like Northern United, when I was coaching, it's frightening because, the game's never dead. You can be leading and then all of a sudden
Absolutely.
they score, 12 points in 2 minutes and you feel under pressure again. So Brent Cott will be very aware of that. He'll just be looking for his team just to get 40 now and try to get back on track. And good ball there from Hickey.
So this is now taken on the first tackle there. That's Willoughby now gets it into the hands of Singh back in. That's Chris Cameron, one of the late additions for this Tweed Coast Raiders team. Willoughby gets it played short side now into Hickey. Hickey does well to get about 35 metres away from the United line. Willoughby, that's going into the hands. That's Daniel Ross. Barraging run by Ross. He's now done well to get about 25 metres away now from the United line. And they've got a few numbers there on the right there, but Willoughby goes himself. He's brought down there. That's 10 metres. They're 10 metres out. So Tweed Coast know this is important to get some points, to get an arms length going into half-time. There's 2-on-1 on the left, and they're going to expose it in the corner there. That's Don Murray. Don Murray knows that try line too well for United's liking, and he's going to now slim down that lead, and now going to be 18 points to 10, kick to come.
Yeah, and that was good football. There wasn't much doing on their right edge. Willoughby jumped out from 9, and all of his options are all on the same wave. I could see he was a little bit disappointed there. There wasn't really much to work with, but they took the tackle, had heaps of good shape on the left, and it just went through the hands. And Northern United will be a little bit disappointed there. They sort of a little bit disconnected in defence, and it only took sort of one player to come out of that line and created the overlap. And Murray, he found himself over in the corner. I mentioned in the pre-game, Dwayne, I was super impressed with him against Murwillumbah in a beaten team. His speed off the mark, he just looks like he's got class, and he didn't have a lot to do there, but let's hope he can get some early ball.
And as you can see, that's now 7 tries now for the 2019 season. And here's something a bit more, as I said, he's no stranger to try line. How's this one for a start? With the exception of round 1, he has scored in every game that he has played in.
I don't doubt that for a minute. He just looks like a try scorer, doesn't he? He's just got that very fluent action, and it'd be a real handful. So already it's been a good contest between him and Pitt over on that right-hand side of the field.
Been a very impressive season for Don Murray. He's also played at this very ground for the Northern Rivers under-23s this season. He's an ex-Coogin Hornet, and he's well represented at under-15s level in Group 18. As well as played for the East Coast Dolphins. As his kick goes up, it's got some range. It just doesn't quite have the accuracy. Industrial now means 18 points to 10. As you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard, Northern United with their noses in front. And now, as I said about 5 or 6 minutes ago, they cross. Northern United can't fall into old habits and thinking the game's safe with their leads.
Well, this Raiders team, as much as they're missing a lot of their big stars, they got 2 blokes in the middle there that I'm looking at now, in Daniel Ross and Dan Willoughby, and they will just keep coming and coming all day long, and they'll be relentless in defence as well. So Northern United have got to be really careful and just get a little bit of polish on the end of their sets, fine touch. I think the Raiders are probably a fitter team than United, so they need to really play smart here. So
this will be now. Sakai and McKenzie gets us restarted. And I think there was a hint of a knock on there, so this could even be a line dropout, which is very... Let's see what the referee calls here. Unless that went out first before he touched it. No, I think he's touched it first. That's... what? So they've just scored the try, and then all he had to do was really leave. So I thought that was going over for all money, or potentially could have even been a penalty. He left, had been out on the full there, Crozier, but instead he's just knocked that one on. He didn't even need to touch it.
Well, Ollie Singh, he was sort of thinking that maybe I'll let it go, and then it landed at the feet of Luke Toon, and that's a hard take for anyone, let alone a front rower. So Toon couldn't come up with a catch, and now the Dirrawong, they're going to be in midfield, tackle 2, options left and right.
They've got the short side. That's where they're going, into the hands of Walter Kelly. He opts for the dummy, but he's then brought down. He had the likes of Billy King there on his left side. This will be Clarence Kelly now to play it from dummy half. Gets it into the hands of Will James. He's brought down there by Daniel Ross. And this will be now the 4th phaser play coming in now. This will be Jamal Roberts to play from dummy half. Gets it away into the hands. That's gone into His numbers on the right there, cut out pass into the hands. That's McKenzie. That's gone into Clarence Kelly, gets himself on the score sheet once again. Sorry, that's Fred Pitt for a double there. Clarence Kelly normally plays for there, Crossy, but you would have seen there, Fred Pitt gets himself a double, and just off the back of that line drop out there from the Tweed Coast Raiders, had potential to get themselves back into the game, and now they're going to have to do it all over again. Score now 22-10.
Oh, it was great shape from Northern United, but I can see Coach Brent Kite here on the sideline. He's furious at that, and so he well should be. I actually noted in the lead up there, Dwayne, that Tweed Coast Raiders put 3 defenders on a short side, and Northern United only had 2 attackers. So, therefore, that means they're going to be short on the far side of the field. And when they went sort of pass, they found themselves one player short, and it was a really good cutout pass there. It might have been from Hickling, found Pitt, and they found themselves over in the corner.
And Frederick Pitt, he is no stranger to the try line himself. That's his 7th try for the campaign. It's his first double for the season. Scored in games against Casino, Byron Bay, Morris Kygel, and against his ex-club of Evans Head. And he's also an ex-Ballina Seagull from seasons 2012 and 13. So Fred Pitt has done well to get himself his 7th try for the 2019 campaign and extending this lead with about 5 minutes of change in the first half here at Crozier Oval in Lismore.
Yeah, and that's where you just can't beat experience, you know. I just think about that Raiders team from last year, you know, had guys like Jack O'Brien and Drew Lanston in the centres who are really good at sort of counting numbers and just big bodies there that were a presence. And to have 3 guys, defenders, sitting on a short side there when there's only 2 attackers, I mean, that's sort of Rugby League 101 in defence with your line defence, and Brent Kite would not be happy with that at all.
Drew Lanston, what a big loss for the Raiders at the start of the season with that season-ending injury he had, though.
Oh, mate, it's shattering. And obviously one of the leaders of the club along with his brother Guy, so who's not out there as well today. So they've really got their backs to the wall and, you know, both, you know, on the scoreboard here today, but also in the competition as far as playing semi-finals go. Joey Gordon has put that over.
What a kick there from Joey Gordon. Shows why he was a big pick up there from the Byron Bay Red Devils mid-season, 24-10. Oh, you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. Northern United with their noses in front. Trust you join the coverage wherever you may be watching. Let us know what you think of the coverage on Mark Goff Media Sports on the YouTube page via the NRRRL Facebook page. Of course, both proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au today for all your betting information. Or download the app today. Gamble responsibly as we get back into with a few minutes left in the first half here. What is State of Origin 2 day there, Crossy?
What do you like, mate? A stupid question, I suppose, asking you, Queenslander.
Oh, yeah, mate. Oh, you know what colour my blood bleeds, but to be honest, I reckon it's going to be a close game for that one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1-1. I think all that got Queensland home in that first game, I think, was the fact that Suncorp Stadium. So be interesting how that goes. But I said on the radio show this morning, Freddie Fitler has welded out that machete. It didn't take long for New South Wales to wig it back out on the back of the loss.
No, I think it's been a little bit overstated, although I might be talking, with blue blood going through my body. But we've got a penalty here. So this is a really critical time in the game. We've got
Absolutely
3 or 4 minutes before half-time. Northern United, they won't want to leak one before half-time. This will bring the Raiders right back into this game.
So that was Toon there involved in the first tackle. Gets in the hands of Willoughby. And Willoughby goes himself. He's been doing a lot of that today. Paid off in some aspects and not in some others. And this is going into Toon, into the hands. That's going to Fredericks, back into the hand. I think that's there Chris Cameron, the late addition. But he's handed that one back over. And they're taking it about just inside the 20 now, Northern United. And they could potentially inflict some more pain from any point of the field in the last couple of minutes in the first half here at Crozier Oval. This is going to be now played here by Jamal Roberts. Gets it, and I think that's Jarrett. No, sorry, that's Arwen Roberts. Just inside 40 on the second tackle there. That's going to be played now by Jamal Roberts into the hands of Walter Kelly. You just think it could just come from anywhere. There's a big left side there, Crossy. You probably can't see it on your screens there, but they opted to go right, which is very interesting. Hickling. And they're still held there inside the 50. This is 5th and last. This is very important defensive play there by the Raiders.
They should be looking to kick this out, this one.
Big kick there by Hickling. And there's chases there for the Raiders. Gets it in. I think that's Oliver Lindley. That's the other winger, Oscar Clark. and he's going to be brought down the tackle. I can see there the late addition there for the United. Godfrey Swain getting involved. Big tackle there by Will James on the second tackle. 25 metres out there from the Raiders. If you just joined us, I think it's
Yeah, we're 24-10 here.
24-10.
Yeah, really critical period here. Northern United got to stay pretty switched on with their defence. They're getting a penalty away.
So let's just see. They've probably got about another. They'll probably see the whole set of 6 here, the Raiders, with about 45 seconds to go on the clocks. You can see there, as I said in previous weeks, those clocks do not stop for stoppages, so they might have another minute or two up their sleeve. They should see out the set of 6, and you'd think it'd be very much mandatory for the Tweed Coast Raiders to get something into the sheds here with some points.
I think we've got about 30 seconds now, Dwayne, so we'll see what they can do.
So this has now gone at the hands of Singh.
They've got numbers.
There's numbers there. There's about 3-on-1 potentially, but well-written defence there by Fred Pitt. Shoddy's been so impressive attack and defence here. Second tackle goes into the hands of, that's Daniel Ross. That's about now just inside 30 now. The United's half a field. This is Toon. Toon does well. I've said a couple of weeks ago, Luke Toon's probably been the attacking player. One player I haven't seen get their hands on the ball much is Kalani Hensby there, crossing. As we can see there, right on the stroke of half time. That's going to be an opportunity just gone astray there for the Tweed Coast Raiders, and that's going to be all she wrote for the first half.
Oh, they'll be disappointed there. Dan Willoughby sort of ducked his head out on the left side and went back to the right a couple of plays earlier. They had 3-on-2. They could have made something of it, but it wasn't to be. So they'll go in at 24 points to 10 down at half time. And congratulations to Northern United. They've put a pretty good first half together.
So as you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard, half time at Crozier Oval, Northern United 24 to Tweed Coast 10. And if you've just joined us, we must make mention of the unfortunate, tragic event that happened last night involving Mullumbimby player Tim Watkins, who was tragically killed last night. And from everyone here, and from Markoff Media Sports and NRRRL, our thoughts, prayer and love to the family, friends, teammates or anyone affected by this tragic event that happened last night. May he rest in peace.
Well said, mate. Yeah, well said.
So we now take this opportunity to have the halftime break, and we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes from now. Dwayne Neville joined here by Nathan Cross for round 12 of NRRRL action from Crozier Oval in Lismore. As you can see there, as we about to commence the second half between the Northern United and Tweed Coast Raiders, it's 24 to 10 in favour of Northern United. So, Crossy, what do Tweed Coast Raiders need to do to potentially get themselves back in this one and extend their head-to-head record above Northern United?
And I'm sure Cody would have been speaking about it at half time, and just getting back on track, just doing the simple things right, like completing their sets. I know that sounds really boring, but we've seen a number of times in that first half some uncharacteristic mistakes, some forward passes, and just some really poor defensive lapses, and that just goes against what the Raiders have been about the past sort of 2 years. So he would have spoken about getting back to basics, just getting back on track, and having confidence that by building pressure against this Northern United team that they'll get some opportunities later in the game.
As we're going into this one, I thought there was no way we could have a repeat of that 60-odd point unanswered points from Tweed Coast Raiders from round one, which I think was the legit first game of the season, which, if I can recall, I was here for that round one game. It was like 38 degrees. You could probably take that down by about a third compared then as well.
Yeah, that's right. It's I think round one they cut that short, those games, because of the heat, didn't they?
Well, they cut short this one here. I think it was Morris and Coogin. So so I think, obviously heat always comes into play, especially on a Saturday afternoon at Cabarita.
And for Northern United, this is a really important game. We mentioned before, they're really in a battle with sort of Byron Bay, Coogin, in and around trying to sneak in and maybe grab fifth spot. So they've got to keep winning each week. And it all starts here this afternoon and really trying to consolidate on that 24 points to 10 lead.
So as we know, that's fifth and last. That was Billy King that passed that, sends that one high. It's got some height, but would have probably liked a bit more metres. The bounce is potentially thrown. That's well taken there by, I believe that's Oliver. Sorry, that was Oscar Clark. So this will be now set on the second phase of play. They're taken down now halfway now, just about 10 inside field. Played there from dummy half by Harley Peachy. Barraging run there that's Connor Hickey. 45 metres out from the Tweed Coast line. Tweed must score first in this second half if they want to make a contest out of this one. Though 14 points the margin for Northern United. They know well on about at least 3 occasions back in Kyogle that the 14 points is never ever going to be enough, and they need to score more points themselves.
They've just given 6 away there. They might have been a bit stiff there, Northern, but...
And a penalty to follow too, Crozier. So here's more metres to come for Tweed Coast Raiders. So signs are promising for a potential comeback here for the Raiders.
Well, worst case here, they'll be looking for a repeat set, the Raiders. Best case, obviously, is a try. But they'll be looking to build some confidence in this set of 6.
So the theme of hosting Tweed-based teams follows next week for Northern United. They will be at home to Coogin, which is they're basically the next 4 games, including this one. They're at Crozier Oval.
Well, if that's the case, they had a huge chance to really sort of bang down the door of that top 5.
Absolutely. So this is Willoughby. They're looking promising. Nice little tiny hit and spin there by Pollard. It's so close to line, about 3 metres away. This will be Willoughby to play on the left side. Gets in the hands of Toon, but cuts out to Toon, gets it into the hands of Peachy. Peachy goes himself. He likes under the sticks there, Peachy. But just too much Northern United personnel just greeting him.
Still got to come left here, Dwayne.
So this is now, that's gone into hands. That's Ross. Ross goes himself. He's brought down there by Fred Pitt.
Great tackle, Pitt.
5th and last. United have done well. They need to in defence. That's what's eluded them in previous contests. Kick across the carpet. And, well read in defence by United. But it's going to be another set of 6 coming for the Tweed Coast Raiders.
Yeah, and that's young Mackenzie on the spot again. He's had a good afternoon in respect to his positional play. I've been impressed with him in that department. But that's what I said at the start of that set. They'll just be looking as a worst case to get a repeat set, and that's what they come up with on that occasion. And
United, they've actually been in, despite the high volume of tries scored for and against, 4 of their games have been decided by 6 points or less this year. They got 1 win and 3 losses out of those 4. Crozier? Yeah, they could have been a little bit higher up on the ladder, as we've spoken about a number of times that game against Kyogle. They clutched defeat from the jaws of victory, didn't they, really? So there goes Hensby. So Kalani Hensby, as I just mentioned in the dying minutes of the first half, that we haven't really seen much ball from him. And I reckon if the Raiders are to come back from here, they're going to need him on the pill a lot more than what we've seen in the first half. So this will be now Willoughby to play it on the third phase of play. Gets it now into the hands of Harley Peachy. And he's brought down there, and they're about, 7 or 8 metres away now from the United line. They're looking promising for first points in the second half, Tweed Coast Raiders. So they're now just still about 5 or 6 metres away. This is Willoughby into the hands of Peachy. Cut out pass, and that's Don Murray. He knows that. He's hit. He was so close. He was keen. But they'll get a penalty, that being the next best outcome for the Tweed Coast Raiders. And that was Fred Pitt again. Hasn't he had an afternoon? That's been a terrific battle, those two out there. Don Murray, we've spoken about his potential and his ability, but Fred Pitt, he's been around a long time, Fred Pitt, and he's done a great job here this afternoon. So going into this one, with the exception of Byron Bay, the only 2 losses that have come for the Tweed Coast Raiders are both teams at the pointy end of the table being Ballina and Moorlambar. So this is Willoughby into the hand. That's Toon. And as it goes through the hands, they've gone through about 7 or 8 different sets of hands. That brings it infield. That was Oliver Lindley. This will be now played here by Dan Willoughby. He has Toon there on his left, but it goes for Cam Pollard. He's so close to that line, Cam Pollard. Toon that does the dummy run into the hands. That's gone into Ross. This is Kalani Hensby. Back into the hands. That's Ollie Singh. And he's crunched down there, just still inside 10. Willoughby goes himself. And, they're just relying on their forwards probably a little bit too heavily. Let's see what Willoughby can do here. And this should be, there's numbers on the right, but it's been brought in forward there by Connor Hickey. Goes himself. He's Clarence. That's collected there by Clarence Kelly. And that's it. He beats about 4 players. He's got Kalani Hensby that he doesn't eventuate the tackle there. Hensby, this will be played by Kelly. Nice tackle there by Harley Peachy. And Dwayne, it's got to be said, that was terrific scrambling defence there from Northern United. That whole set of 6, the Raiders could have scored on 3 or 4 occasions.
But they're up to the task, Northern United, and congratulations to them. They've got to keep turning up. Oh, we've got an error.
So that's an error. But I was also about to say there, Crozier, just before that error took place, we've just seen it, and we've seen it in the pretty much on show. United can score from anywhere in the field at any given time. Tweed have had about 3 or 4 shots within 10 metres and still just falling short. So if I was Brett Kite, that would be a very worrying thing to be seeing today.
Yeah, it would be for the moment, but what he'll be happy about is putting that continual pressure and getting some fatigue into this Northern United side. We'll see there, United just making a couple of changes. They've made 6 changes as opposed to the Raiders 2. So they're really going to have to find some big effort at the back end of this game.
Smashing run there by Connor Hickey on the first tackle. They're inside 20 of the United line. This has been our Willoughby. Gets it into their hands. That's Daniel Ross. Through their hands. This is a bit more like it. That's Tom Murray. He's just brought in there by Swaim.
Oh, that was another great
And I think he's just lost. And I think, is that Don Murray? I think he's done his leg there, Crossy.
He's got a call. That was a terrific tackle from number 2 there from Northern United.
Yeah. Number 2, that's Godfrey Swaim there. One of those little late additions for United team. Now, let's just hope it's nothing more than a cork for Don Murray, because let's put it bluntly, they cannot afford to not have Don Murray there with it. Like, he scored in every game that he's featured in, as I made mention at some point in the first half, and unfortunately there, Crossy, that looks a little bit more than just a cork.
Yeah, let's hope for the Raiders' sake it's not, because the last thing they need is to lose yet another player, given that the stars that they've got sitting on the sideline here. I must admit, Dwayne, as soon as Murray got the ball, I thought, put the glasses down, that's 4 points. He's going to get across there, but great tackle there from the winger there from Northern United. So you can see Luke Simpson warming up on the sideline here. He may be looking to go on.
Of course, Tweed Coast, they will be playing Morris Brothers next Sunday at home. So they actually got a... so this will be the last time that Tweed Coast Raiders, providing they make the finals, of course, and providing they have to travel away, this will be the last time they don't see Seaside for the rest of the season. So for the rest of the year, they'll have 4 straight at home and followed games with Ballina and Coogin to follow. So they will at least have the Sea Breeze to play with no matter where they go from here on in.
Yeah, okay, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the back half of this year. It's, like I said before, I think the top 3 might be sort of...
Whilst it's still mathematically possible, so I think I was studying a bit on that during the week, and I think I might have even set a message to you here or there. Like, I think, just from my personal opinion, you can see Don Murray, he's struggling to get off that field. I said, whilst it's still mathematically possible, I had a look at every team that's in the top 5 and probably just another 1 or 2 outside of it, but you'd say you throw Byron Bay, Coogin, and of course Northern United in the mix. I looked at the remaining games and sort of had a bit of a potential idea, and I think the top 5, in my opinion, I actually thought maybe Tweed would probably just get the job done. Of course, we're still playing here. I think you're right. The top 3 is pretty much, it's just a matter of who finishes where in the top 3, whilst of course still mathematically possible. But I think you can probably say Moolumbar, Ballina and Casino, top 3, and then you probably have maybe Coogin, Northern United. With all due respect to Byron, whilst I've got the bye today, and I think I looked at their last 5 games there, Crossy, they all going to play top 4, their last 5, I think the top 4 are currently, you've got Ballina, they've got to play Ballina, Casino, Moolumbar again, and Tweed Coast. So they're playing 4 out of the top 5 in the lead up to the finals, which could be a good thing if they are in form and they can get it done. But if there's anything to go by last week, then probably that, the proof's in the pudding, they might not even have a look into top 5.
Yeah, well, it seems like they've lost their way there, hasn't it? I know, unfortunately, Carney hasn't been playing, which has been a massive loss for them. So, yeah, unfortunately, it appears that they won't be playing final series this year, although, it's not over till it's over. But tackle 5 here, Peachy's going to get a kick away into this left-hand corner.
So this should be greeted by McKenzie. He does a little step there to get it about 25 metres away from their own line. And the Raiders there have just conceded a penalty on the first phase. So it's just going to give some handy metres now for Northern United.
So, mate, just getting back to that top 5. So you think what we've got at the moment, you think the top 5 as it stands today, you think it might be the ultimate
Going
top
into this game, but if we're looking at this one thus far, then
five? He hasn't found touch.
I don't think Tweed Coast are going to be safe either. And then you look at the likes of Kai Ogle. Well, I mean, for lucky for the Raiders that Kai copped a hammering last week, because you'd think that when you get top 4, you get at least one home final, and you think Raiders, then they got to at least keep their noses in front. And I think they might even have to play Coogin again at some point. And so if they don't get the job done here, then they pretty much got to win the big bulk of the next games to at least secure a home final, let alone a final top 5 spot.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, things can change week to week. We've seen with injuries what can happen, and a little bit of form. We've seen United hit a bit of form last week and again today. So
This is Daniel Ross goes himself. Oh, he's brought down there by Joey Gordon. So,
tackle 5 penalty.
Oh, geez. So this is sort of what got Northern United undone in some of the couple of the streams that we've seen here in the past month or two. So they've had the lead, and this is one team you cannot throw the game away against the defending premiers. Despite the fact that they're depleted, they're still part of the system. So this is Willoughby. Willoughby goes himself. He's been doing a lot of that today. Willoughby's very close to the line. He's going to be held up, though.
Yeah, that's one thing the Raiders won't do, and that's go away. They will keep trying all day. We saw them in that Moolumbar game 2 weeks ago. They actually scored their only try of the game after the bell. Yeah, so, and they were willing. They kept coming all day. So we're going to have time off here. We've got a Northern United player down into the post, and that would be good for them. They need to sort of have a bit of a rest, get their defensive line in order, and get ready to repel any of the onslaught here from the Raiders.
So trust you're enjoying the coverage wherever you may be watching. As you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard, it's 24-10. We have had no change to the first half score. Proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au today for all your betting information, or download the app today if you prefer to be on the tablets or the smartphones. Gamble responsibly. So yeah, so you look on the temperatures there, and I always say this every week, and I think you've got to be having a laugh at 17.4. Or is that just the fact that we live on the coast?
Yeah, well, geez, it felt cold on that walking across here today.
Absolutely. I'm fully rugged up in hoodie and all, so...
that southerly blowing was pretty chilly, wasn't it, mate? So we're back away here.
So back to live action now. Should go in the hands. That's gone into Lachlan Dawson.
Forward pass.
Yeah, I thought that might have been a hint of a forward pass. He wasn't exactly running to get behind the sticks. So that's you haven't seen much of Lachlan Dawson in attack today either, Crozier. So you reckon they've been relying a bit too heavily on Don Murray?
Well, mate, Dawson actually started on the bench. I looked down here early in the first half, and he was sitting here. Yeah, and he actually replaced Murray to come onto this left edge. So I think it was Chris Cameron that was playing right centre.
Well, that would make perfect sense, and I thought he might have been starting. So let's see what Lachlan Dawson can do from that position. So this will be now played by Evan Hinckley, about 10 metres away now from United's line, and he's crunched in the tackle there by the likes of Connor Hickey. So it's second phase of play. This is going in. Oh, that's Connor Hickey again in defence. So he's done his job today, Connor Hickey. They're playing on the short side. That's Hickey again on the 3 consecutive tackles. He's always looking for work. Could this be a fourth? Yes, it is. Yeah. Connor Hickey. And he's been very influential in this defensive prowess for the Tweed Coast Raiders. And the referee's called time here. So could this be... I think that's a bit of an ankle injury there. I can't make out the number from United there, Crozier.
Yeah. It's obviously hard to make out who that is. But yeah, Connor Hickey 4 tackles in a row. So he'll be keen to... find a spot in the line where he doesn't have to make 5.
So let's see what comes out of this. I think it's his right ankle there, Crossy. So he looks like he's in a great deal of pain, unfortunately.
Ash Moran out there treating him. Very good player back in his day, Ash Moran. Actually played a bit of footy against him. He was a very tough competitor. Heavily involved in the club here. Really, really good fella. And again, this will give them a chance to have a bit of a spell. This all plays into the hands of United. Raiders put a couple of sets back-to-back down. A little bit of fatigue started getting into this Northern United side. So they'll need to finish this game strongly and sort of keep this 14-point lead that they've got and look to build on it from here.
So we get back to live action now. See this United are about 5 metres away now from the halfway line, and they've done well to hold a 24-10 lead coming into the final quarter of the second half, and this will just be strictly just to slow the play down. So Tweed Coast Raiders now will have a scrum feed about 10 metres out now from their own line. So this is I'm not prepared to say Northern United have got one hand on this one, Crossy, to get 2 points, but they've basically gone the right way about it, and it'd have to be pretty unfortunate not to get it done here.
Well, plays like that, I didn't see whether it was Hickling or Kelly, but super smart play. That's what they're looking for, you know. Kick into touch, walk to scrums, slow the play
Basically,
down.
so I took the words out of my mouth there just to slow the play down. So, well picked up there, Coach Crossy.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. Now, on the other side, the Raiders, they've got to really look towards, you know, their premiership players from last year. And I speak of, you know, Hensby, you know, Willoughby.
Ooh, just sorry there, Crossy. It's a little bit of a flip on the tackle there by number 15. I don't have, sorry, that's 16 being
Yeah,
G.R.
looks like-
Breckenridge.
Yeah, and 15 in the headgears there is Luke Simpson. He's going to retreat back there to the wing.
So we now nicely taken up there just to get inside on the fifth phase. This will be the fifth tackle now, about 48 metres away from the United line. Kick goes up. It's got some height to it. This should be collected out by Mackenzie. Does well.
Great take.
So he's got that Luke. That's Luke Simpson there in the blue headgear there, Crossy.
It is. Yeah, he came across in the Bay last year. He is a
How's he go as a
game
player under your tutelage?
breaker. Mate, he's, look at him. Here he goes.
So that's Simpson does well. He gets over. He beats another player. Gets over the halfway. He's got no one to beat. Got numbers. There should be for 28 points to 10 coming in. Luke Simpson goes himself. And I think that was some great omen there by Nathan Cross just to make it be known. And you saw it right there. And they're now well on their way to get 2 points. Northern United against the defending premiers, 28 points to 10.
Well, there he goes. I mean, he's a game breaker. It sort of took the words out of my mouth. I've seen him do that a heap of times, either for the Byron Bay Red Devils or back in the day, the Ballina Seagulls. He's probably not in the shape that he once was, Luke, but, geez.
Still can score.
Can't he score a try? I mean, look at that. There was absolutely nothing doing then, and he just broke the first 2 or 3 tackles and showed a clean pair of heels to skirt down this right-hand touchline and extend their lead. And now the Raiders, they're really going to have their backs to the wall and it all to do here.
That, in boxing terminology, is the overhand right, and now the Raiders are now officially on a 10 count. So, okay, so 28 points to 10. This is, for me, been United's best defensive effort of this year. That should go out saying. I think they've fixed it also at the right time against the right opposition. So they're very much, after today, we don't want to, there's still 20 minutes left to go, but if they can keep this up, then they've really put their hat in the ring to potentially get in that top 5. And it could, if the Raiders don't fix up their play, they could be the ones that exit out of stage left of the finals. That's what I was about to say there, Crossy. I've had a thought of mine in my mind is, I think Ballina could have even happened to Ballina. Actually, yeah, I think it was 2015, where a team has won the grand final and not played finals the next year. I think that was, 2015, Ballina did it.
It's really hard. It's really hard to turn up the next year and to keep that same sort of enthusiasm and motivation, but most importantly, keeping the same players on the field, you know. It's a bloody hard slog to win a grand final and to keep everyone healthy. And if you have a good luck, as we see Joey Gordon is...
Joey Gordon puts that over. He's like 30 points to 10 here at Crozier and Lismore in favour of Northern United. As you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. Crossy, I was just about to also say, and you probably take the words out of my mouth here, that there's the term that goes around being the victim of your own success, and that's even tenfold in the local leagues, because once you get the right players on the field, they go and play the likes of Q Cup and even go one step further in NRRRL. So that should be Tweed Coast Raiders. They should get a little bit of a leg up here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen it personally, you know, when you're coaching at a local level and you lose some guys to the Queensland Cup or they sign in Sydney or whatever. And, mate, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You want to see kids progress. You know, the Raiders, they've seen their terrific halfback from last year, Tane Robinson, you know, head up to into the Tweed Seagulls Queensland Cup system, which, you know, I'm working with him up there at the moment, doing some stuff. And he's a terrific kid. He's going really, really well. And you can see from this Raiders team now that they miss him greatly. So... But that's what it's all about. And for the Raiders, I mean, they've still got, you know, 5 or 6 of last year's premiership team out there. But you have a look, to the right of where we're sitting now, mate, and there's a lot missing as Willoughby's.
Oh, nice run by Willoughby, but he's brought down there by GR Breckenridge. This should be played there by Harley Peachy. That's Luke Toon. Toon, big monster man. Under 23 is representative for Northern Rivers Titans. This is Willoughby. Gets on the right side. That's it. There's numbers on there potentially, but that's lost forward there by Ollie Singh. Scrum feed now. Beckoning now for Northern United about 10 metres away from their own line. Now, Crozier, I was just about to say, if I didn't say it last week, I was certainly thinking it. You're saying there, we're talking about victim of own success when involving the Coogin Hornets. When I recall back to when I was covering the Andrew Johns Cup, when the amount of players represented by the Coogin Hornets in that the Andrew Johns Cup winning team, I think there was about 7 or 8 to memory, and about at least half of those went to play for country, and a further couple more went to play for New South Wales under 16s. Now, if I was the Coogin Hornets, I'd be doing whatever you can to at least get them through the system to play an A grade. But I just hope for Coogin Hornets' sake that they can retain majority of these players. And let's be realistic, they might not be able to keep all of them before they go and play A grade. But how good would it be if they could just get there and at least pump the tyres back at the Coogin Hornets? Because at the moment, that's what's lacking.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's nothing better when you're involved in a club that you see some good young kids come through your 16s and 18 system, and then they end up coming into first grade and being your best players in first grade. I mean, that's real. I mean, people involved in footy clubs, that's when you feel like things are at your best, when you've got good juniors coming through. So, look, it is tough though, mate, this day and age, particularly with young boys. They've all got aspirations to sort of go further afield, as we see a good little short pass there from Kelly.
So that's now going. That's Clarence Kelly there.
Clarence has done a hamstring.
Oh dear, he doesn't stay there. He knows. So yeah, he's looking at that's heavily strapped to on his left side there, Crozier. He was carrying that.
He did that a couple
of
times.
No, sorry, that's his right one. Sorry.
I hope he's all right, because he did tear his hamstring twice last year playing for the Bay. So you better check his date of birth there, Clarence, because that's called old age, and that's what can happen. But hopefully he's cramping.
Well, I know that too well, and I'm not a football player. I just sit at the desk. So that kick goes up. It's well taken there on the 20-metre line. So I think that's Ollie Singh there, is it, Crozier?
Yeah. Mate, it is. And I'm just having a quick look at the Raiders' body language here. A lot of these guys are really starting to battle. Bit of fatigue in this. As they've come up with an error.
So, yeah, on the second tackle as well. No, that's actually, referees call it a penalty there for offside. So yeah, Raiders, we're about, 15 minutes and change left in this one. They're 20 points down, so now it's gone past point a minute. As you can see there, 30 points to 10. United are over Tweed Coast.
That might not find touch here.
No, it won't. It's going to be collected there. I think that's Mackenzie. So, that's Billy King. So I think that's Mackenzie there. Rossi.
It is.
Yeah, so he's brought down there by the Tweed Coast halfback, Harley Peachy. So, even in the misfortune that Northern United had another try in that game, that's good night, Irene.
Yeah, that'll be good night, Nurse, if they can get across the stripe again, Northern United. So the Raiders, this is uncharted waters for them. You think about the season they had last year. They led from in front all year. They were minor premiers.
They only lost once, didn't they? Against Ballina, and that was in the halfway through the 2018 campaign.
That's right, and then we called that major semi-final. We got a knock on here from Northern, so we called that major semi-final of the Raiders and Ballina at Tweed Coast Raiders Field, and I think it was maybe 10-6 or 14-10 or something.
12-10 or something like that.
It was pretty tight. So they didn't have many losses last year, and they didn't have many injuries either. So it's been a real test of their character. It's been a real test for Coach Brent Kite.
And so here, this looks like another injury now for Northern United. So that's probably the thing that's eluding them at the moment. As I said before, we had the updated lineups. They had no less than 5 players changed from last week, and you couldn't put that down to form when you beat Byron Bay 46-26.
No, well, exactly. That's right. So interesting to see. I think Willow James is up and about now, so hopefully for their sake he can remain on the field, because they have used the bulk of their interchanges, I believe.
So this will be a scrum feed now for Tweed Coast Raiders. So they're about 45 metres away from their own line. And as the heads go down, this will be played here by Harley Peachy. And I could just notice there, I think that's Harley Peachy there with a black armband. Of course, we must make mention, if you've only just joined the broadcast late, thoughts and prayers to the family of Tim Watkins, who is on Mullumbimby Giants squad member who was tragically killed last night. And as I mentioned, to our thoughts, prayers and love go to all those affected in the family, friends, and his Mullumbimby teammates.
Yeah, really thinking about everyone in that Mullen club. I mean, they're such a good family club and
Absolutely.
really tight knit. It's really, really tough.
And as a result, the game between Mullumbimby and Casino was called off today. So,
Yeah, for good reason.
so this is going to be taken up there by Cam Pollard. So this is probably played by Willoughby on the short side into Daniel Ross, and he's brought down there. So they know they're playing desperate football now. Tweed Coast Raiders, 5th and last. This will be now played on the short side to Willoughby. That's going into the hands of Singh, and this is going to be Jimmy Armstrong, and he's smashed in the tackle there by, I think that's Billy King, and big defensive effort there by Billy King. And yeah, that was the 5th and last, and it's now 7 or 8 metres away from the Northern United's line.
Yeah, and they went the right side, and Clarence Kelly come up with a great tackle there. I think it was on Chris Cameron. He threw the flick pass out to the winger, but Billy King, he was up to the task and put a really good shot on him. And now Northern United are going to have a change over 10 metres out. I think for the Raiders, Dwayne, they're really sort of getting to those edges, but Northern United have defended their edges extremely well today, mate. I think if it's going to be for the Raiders, for mine, it's got to be through Daniel Ross and Dan Willoughby through the middle, with some guys like Peachy and Ollie Singh pushing around the football. They've chanced their arm on the edges before. It hasn't worked of late. I think they've got the middle third is where it's at.
So this is now taken now 20 metres out from the Northern United line. This will be the 3rd tackle. So they're playing the short side now. So they're looking for another line break to put the exclamation part in this game. I've been guilty of it once before there, Crozier. We're calling it safe for Northern United in the past. I'm still prepared not to do it then. But one more try will 20 points and 12, surely not. That's not going to elude Northern United today.
What are we, about 12 minutes out, are we?
Yep, so that's on the unofficial clock. So we're probably, give or take, probably another 2 minutes at most. And, well, I mean, as I said, 16 points and 5 is possible, but 20 and 12.
I'm just not sure where these points are going to come from today from the Raiders. Last year we would have spoken about guys like Guy Lanston or Tane Robinson, etc.
Both who were missing today.
Both missing today. Then they're not there. So if they're chasing points, and now that we've got Don Murray sitting on their sideline, their real speedster, I don't know where these points are going to come from late.
And just to make mention too, the first try in the first 5 minutes was scored by the Tweed Coast Raiders. So they've only scored 4 points in about 60 odd minutes of football. So, and I sort of caught wind of it with the fact that Northern United scoring from anywhere they basically wanted the field at any given time, whilst they had about 4 consecutive sets of 6 inside Northern United's half, and to no avail. So this is sorry.
Sorry, mate, I was going to say, now United have got numbers on their left side.
So this is going nicely run, but he's brought down there by Connor Hickey. So they're about 30 metres out now from the Tweed Coast line. One more will surely put it to bed, no doubt about it. It's going to be taken up there by, I think that's Caldwell. Number 10, Caldwell. Goes in the hands, that's Hickling. He's been so impressive into attack today, setting up a couple of tries. This will be now played here by... This is Jamal Roberts, kick across the carpet. Oh, well read, but just didn't quite get the ball away quick enough there. That was Oscar Clark. It was an impressive catch, but just had his foot on the paint there.
Yeah, I know it's Dire Straits at the moment, but I'm not sure if that's the play. But I'll tell you what was the play, and that was the kick out of dummy half from Roberts. That shows his experience. I was impressed with him the day that we called that Northern United Casino game.
Absolutely.
I think you and I spoke, Nev, about him being one of their best that day. And again, between him and sort of Kelly and Hickling, they're really steering this team around quite well here this afternoon.
So this will be Evan Hickling now. They're about just 10 metres out now from the Tweed Coast line. I had a chance to really put it to bed and put their exclamation mark on what was a very impressive performance from Northern United. 30 points being 30 points to 10. This is now going to be played by Jamal Roberts. This is now Caldwell. He's brought down, and there's a big right side contingent there. You probably can't see it on your screen, but they're playing the middle side. They're getting big run there. And they're just about 5 metres away. They've still got that right side, but they're going the left side. And that's nicely taken there. That's Dan Willoughby there, down in defence. This should be the fourth tackle. They're still set a big right side play there, Northern United. You could probably just see it now. They're opting to go the middle, and that's going to be called for a pass. So Tweed Coast on this occasion off the hook, but they're going to have to do well to play from deep inside their own half of field.
Yeah, bad luck there for Northern. They're trying to play some sort of high percentage footy in respect to just playing a little bit one off the ruck. Come up with an error in a forward pass, but nevertheless, they turn the ball over there 10 metres out from the Raiders line. That's not the worst result.
So they're 10 metres out now. Northern United been defending so well in defence. And as I made mention about 20 minutes ago, this has pretty much just been the missing piece of the puzzle for this season. And I think they've probably just got it on point at the right time. And that's not going to help matters though. I think a bit of a delay in the play the ball there on Northern United's part there, Crozier.
Okay, so we've just had confirmation. We've got around 13 and a half minutes here to go on the official time clock. So there is plenty of time here for this Raiders team, although they need to get going this set.
So this will be taken up there by that's Kyle Patience there, smack bang on the halfway line. This will be played by Willoughby on the second phase of play. And that was Evan. So that does well to get it off. That's Kalani Hensby. No, that surely should have been stripped. It is. The referees just signal there's 6 to go.
6 to go. Just throw a punch.
Also, there's a bit of push and shove there from either play there. That's Kalani Hensby getting a bit of a shove there from, I think that was Dion Jarrett. So hopefully just cooler heads can just prevail. Kalani Hensby's not someone you should be pushing around either.
No, that's right. I think, Roberts didn't like something in the play ball there.
Let's see what the referee's called here. So he's, it wasn't a punch thrown, but the referee now talking to, I can see Dan Willoughby there. I'm not sure if he's the acting captain with Guy Lanston out, but nevertheless, I think he's just told, in the last portion of the game, just to have cooler heads prevail, and it has on this occasion. So Willoughby now will play it into the hands of Harley Peachy. 45 metres out from United's line. That's taken up there by Daniel Ross. And that's Willoughby. He's running him. So I haven't seen many like looking at the likes of Dan Willoughby there, Crossy. I think well picked up there. That's Clarence Kelly. So his hammies look not too bad from after doing well out on the defensive line to pick that one up there, Crossy.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I think it was Connor Hickey that got him by a jumper. Otherwise, he was away, Clark, and it could have been good night.
Crossy, I was just about to say that before Clarence Kelly picked that one up. So Dan Willoughby, I was saying a bit of a broken record about it. Just running off the defense, running himself on many occasions. Do you reckon he probably could have, tried to play it in the hands a bit more from 45 metres out from their own line?
I think they're away.
So that was Fred Pitt. So referee's gonna call play that. So yeah, going back to what I was saying about Dan Willoughby, you reckon he probably could have just maybe got it through a few more hands to get some metres, or?
I think to his defence, he's trying to get them on the front foot, get that momentum going out of dummy half. You see it in the NRL with players like, Seguiaro and those guys sort of jumping out of dummy half and trying to get them play off the front foot. And that's due to the fact that they've got so many injuries and they don't have their natural leaders out there, and they've got some inexperienced halves. So, mate, in his defence, I think that's what he's trying to do. But a lot of the guys are missing the boat.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's jumping. He's such a fast, fit young player.
Oh, don't get me wrong. He's been very quick off the feet. I was just saying, when he was going for the try line there, he had 3 or 4 Northern United big boppers there waiting for him, though. So I just thought, well, maybe, if you knew that was coming. But, I mean, courageous play there from Dan Willoughby nevertheless. So that's going to be taken up. That's Fred Pitt. He's going to be brought down there. So this will be the third tackle now. They're just inside 20 of the Raiders line. They're playing on the short side. That's gone to the hands of Walter Kelly. And he's going to be brought down there. So still about 18 metres away now from Tweed Coast line. One more should really put the exclamation mark. There's a potential cutout pass. It is. That's going into the hands. That's a full pass.
Oh, what a shame for Northern. That all started from Clarence Kelly. I mean, it took 5 or 6 of him to try to get him down. He still got the pass away. And it ended up out in the hands of
Pitt.
Pitt.
Looked good though, didn't it?
Oh, deserved a try. Anyway, and Fred Pitt just couldn't come up with the right pass at the end there to put Luke Simpson in the corner. So,
which would have been a double for Luke Simpson.
Would have been a double, and it would definitely have been game over.
So this will now be played. Harley Peachy, Tweed Coast, smack bang 10 metres out on their own line. This one's going to elude them today. So well responded there in the return match between these two. As I made mention, it was 64-0 in favour of Tweed Coast in the very first game, and United they're going to concede a penalty. But and as I alluded to it, I said I knew this stat was going to be thrown out the window even before coming here. 122 points to 2 coming in this one, the last 2 games. Of course, both featuring very different squads in those 2 games leading up to it. So Patience says smacked hard in the tackle, 45 metres away now from the Tweed Coast line. This will be Willity to play it into the hands now. That's Peachy. And that's, I think that there is Cam Pollard. He's brought down there by Curtly Caldwell. 45 metres out. They're over the 50 there. That's Fredericks. Owen Fredericks. 45 metres away now from the Northern United line. That's Kalani Hensby. He's just lost at there, Hensby. So just the other thing I was thinking of there, Crossy, I haven't seen many opportunities where Tweed Coast have got to their 5th play.
Yeah, they've really lost their way, haven't they? Just having a look down at their bench there, and Coach Brent Kite, really despondent. It's really hard when you go through times like this as a coach. You know what the group's capable of, when fully fit and when you've got your confidence up, but there's a long way and a big gap between sort of where they're at right now and sort of where they were this time last year. So they've got to find a way to sort of get back on track here and really their senior players try to instill a bit of confidence in these younger guys that are coming into the team, and they're trying really hard. Their senior guys like Willoughby and Ross and Hensby and Connor Hickey, they're trying really hard, mate, but yeah, they can't do it all on their own.
So we're in the dying minutes now in the second half. This will be Northern United's day, and what a big win in front of their home crowd. As I mentioned, this is the first of 4 straight games at Crozier Oval, so they'll have Coogin next week, and Coogin, by no means, they're easy to beat. They put on a very impressive performance against Casino, though not getting the win. So there's numbers in the corner. Oh, what athleticism there by Billy King to get a double. And just plucked that out of nothing. Oh, no, he's actually conceded a penalty. Oh, dear, for offside. This must have been, no, what's he called there? I thought he must have played it in front of the kicker. Or?
Yeah, no, he's called the old, he's tapped it over the head for himself to avoid the fullback. But he might, that's one of those real 50-50 ones. To say he deliberately did, it's tough because he was trying to get to the ball. So
great athleticism there by Billy King, and as you would have known coaching the lad at the Byron Bay Red Devils. So on this occasion denied a second try, but nevertheless it's going to be a sweet victory for Northern United as we're in minute 2 at most, and a big win at that, and probably again in Tweed Coast's defence, probably not one that we saw coming by that margin.
Oh, good shot.
So that's nicely taken there by Dejan Jarrett. So that this is probably not just this season, but Northern United's best defensive effort against the current minor major premiers, keeping them to only 10 points, and would have to be in at least the last 2 seasons.
Mate, I agree. It's certainly the best I've seen Northern United defend for a long time. All their guys through their middle and on their edges that I've touched on. Oh, Billy King's to come up.
Oh, so Tweed Coast not dying wondering though. So this will be now 25 metres away on the 5th and last. And this surely could be one of their... Oh, geez. It's just been the story of the game for the Tweed Coast Raiders. Ollie Singh just dropping that one cold. And they're just not getting to their fifth play there, Crossy. That's been the tail of the tape in the last 20 minutes.
Well, that play kind of sums up where they're at the moment, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's not through lack of effort. I mean, Ollie Singh doesn't try to knock that ball on you. That's just, unfortunately, you just go through times like this as players and as coaches.
And just to make it how impressive this win is for Northern United, they're missing their top 2 try scorers, both coming into this at 7 tries, being Brandon Anderson and Zachariah McKenzie, both on 7. Brandon Anderson's not featuring today. He was listed, but he's one of the late omissions going into this one. So it's just goes to show how impressive they've been. And one stat that's about to go out the window today is what I mentioned in the first half, not beating a team in the top 5. It had to happen at this point of the season if they were throwing their hat in the ring. And for Northern United's sake, they've proven that they're a worthy contender of this top 5.
And absolutely. And if we look at some of the players in this team, I mean, that's a shame there. That's a shame for Hickling. He's had a good game. But I just see Alwyn Roberts come off. I mean, he's inspirational as far as this team goes. And any team he's ever played in, everyone talks about Alwyn Roberts as being such a great team man and the sort of guy that can gel and galvanise a team together. So you've got, he's been sort of out injured. He's only sort of 2 or 3 weeks back. And then you look at this right back row in Joey Gordon that you mentioned, Dwayne. He's come across from the Bay. Now, he's been a pretty good player, Joey, for a long time. So all of a sudden, you throw players like Gordon and Roberts in, and then, of course, Luke Simpson, who just ran 80 metres for their last try. Very handy mid-season pickups.
And the other stat that, on our own personal point of view, is that the margins are still widening whilst you're in the box there, Crozies. You made mention a couple of weeks ago. It seems that the other offside is always getting the close one.
Yeah. Not that happy about that either, mate. Bill King's gone for another intercept. What a surprise.
Your doctor will be happy with that, though, so you're not getting...
Correct. I feel pretty casual up here. No real stress. So, yeah, it's good to come, like I said a couple of weeks ago, good to come to the footy without too much stress about what the result will be. Nothing depending on it from my point of view, but good to have a look at some different teams in the competition. As we saw 2 weeks ago, we called Murwillumbah for the first time.
Yep.
They couldn't have played any better that day. Their completion rate,
there's that's Kalani Hensby just dropping that one cold. And that's picked up there by Northern United, 40 metre, just over now their own 40-metre line. So they'll play, I think Hickling there was keen on a short side play, fought twice off it. So they're going around that. It's interesting, they're playing on that short side there, which very interesting there for me. So, but nevertheless, I think they can be a bit more creative now. They've got this one in the bag there, Crossy.
They might, given that they might really chance their arm here on this left edge. They've got some big numbers, although...
They're basically exclusive on that left edge.
Yep.
So that's gone in through the hands. They're just about 40 metres away now from the Tweed Coast line. So now their attacking line is now put a bit of a duck, the duck style there, the Mighty Ducks kind of style, but just to put a Murphy term on it. This is Hickling. There's two-on cut-out passes. Oh, it's just bounced in front of Fred Pitt. He's just basketballed that one into the hands. So this should become a try out of nothing for Harley Peachy. He's going himself. He's got numbers on the left on Oscar Clark. Goes to him. Oh, jeez. The afford a try for all money would have come out of that.
Oh.
They're not taking a trick today, Tweed Coast Raiders. That was, Harley Peachy really could have gone himself, even still. And you're sure thing, for good measure, Oscar Clark, and they just can't get anything out of it, the Tweed Coast Raiders.
Nah, real lack of patience there with Clark. I mean, he tackled zero effectively and didn't need to come up with a kick. But anyway, that's what's happened, and that's the sort of day they've had today here, the Raiders.
It's been Tweed Coast's game for the first 5 minutes, and since then it has not been. Northern United have really put themselves in contention now for the top 5. And as you can see there in the bottom left-hand corner, 44 minutes, or approaching 45 minutes now. That's an unofficial clock. That clock hasn't been stopped for stoppages. We've had about maybe 2 or 3 stoppages in the second half of play. So I think we can just have a look there. We're about 2 and a bit minutes left to go here at Crozier Oval in Lismore. And it's coming good for the right time now for Northern United. They've got the task against Coogin Hornets next week at this very ground. And even the bounce hasn't favoured Tweed Coast in that case, but in this occasion picked up by Singh. He's crunched there by Jamal Roberts. So,
and you were saying, Dwayne, so Northern United have got the next 3 or 4 games at home.
So in the next 3 after this one, yes.
Yeah, wow. So they could potentially go on a run if they can stay
healthy.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. They play Coogin next week, and then...
I think Murwillumbah feature in that, and then I think one of those games is actually... I think it might be on a away game against Morris, so in that derby. So,
yep.
But nevertheless, it's still on their home turf, and it'll be a big day in that Lismore derby, which they actually lost to against Morris. I think it was 30 points to 20 to memory.
Okay, yeah, and again, they may have had a fairly different makeup as far as their team went.
Absolutely.
On that day. So the Raiders have given them plenty of opportunities today, which teams like Murwillumbah certainly won't. There's a good take.
And so it must be worth mentioning too, except for that game against Morris, that the only losses that Northern United have had, I'm just having a look at these stats here, Crossy, the only losses have been against teams that are currently in the top 5. So twice against Casino, and that was only slim picking margins, 4 and 6 points respectively. I think even though despite, I must make mention, I watched highlights of that game at QE2 Park a couple of weeks ago. As we can see there, that's going to be run there by Billy King. He might be able to have a chance of his second one. He won a semi-final a few years ago with a similar play. I think Roberts might have bounced that one. He knows the two there, Roberts. Crozier, that was visions of that 2014 semi-final. You know who I'm talking about against Moolumbar. There was as you can see there's going to be a Tweed Coast player, I think, going to be sent to the bin. I must allude that 2014 semi-final against Moolumbar. Billy King kicks it, and I think that was scored by...
It was his brother, Chris King.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was phenomenal that day. That's as soon as Bill King went down that left-hand touchline, then we knew what was going to...
Same position too, I remember it.
All it was going to be was a chip and chase. So we've got 40 seconds to go here. So Luke Simpson, he thought he had his second try, but he come up with a bit of a bounce ball. But Northern United... They're going to run out comfortable winners here this afternoon, Dwayne, and send a bit of a message to the rest of this competition that if you're going to come to Crozier Oval and play us here, you better be ready for a good game of football.
Yeah, Crozier, I must make mention that I think the turning point potentially was for Northern United was that game against Exeter. Whilst they didn't win it, they were down 16-4 at half-time, but they went on a bit of a late surge in that game. As I said, didn't quite get the try, or didn't quite get the win, sorry. You've got to look at the likes of, you've got to look at the likes of Clarence Kelly scoring an impressive try last week against Byron. And, as we can see, did they get something out of that Oliver Lindley? I think he might have pushed a hand forward.
Knock on.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be pretty much all she wrote here. We've got about 15 seconds. I'm not even going to have time to put the scrum down. As I mentioned, I think it was that second half at QE2 Park a couple of weeks ago, which really has got Northern United back in this competition. As I said, whilst they didn't get the win, they did it against teams like Casino. And that's going to be a duck broken now for Northern United. They have broken a losing streak against Tweed Coast. I think it was, as I mentioned, 3 straight. And after conceding 122 points and only scoring 2 of their own in the last 2, they will be a very uplifting experience. And he'll kick that one out there, Rob.
Oh, I looked away, mate. I'm sorry.
So that's it. All big win for Northern United on their home patch against the defending premiers. And they, as I made mention, they're a candidate now for the top 5, whilst Tweed Coast, they will be back at home against Morris Brothers next week to try and it's been a bit tit for tat for their season. They had a win, not a win, and then they need to just get back on the tracks and try and, you don't want to limp into the top 5, but you think that's pretty much how it's going. They're being a bit turbulent for the Tweed Coast Raiders in their title defence there, Crozier.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're doing, mate, at the moment. I mean, I'd be keen to sort of have a chat with Brent Kite or some of their staff and just see when some of their big-name stars are due back. Because at the moment, even if they play finals football, I think they might just be straight out the back door in week 1.
And they're basically just making up the numbers. And whilst they, as I mentioned at the start of the contest, being in the top 5, courtesy of Kyogle's heavy defeat against Ballany yesterday, those results came to me second-hand, I must iterate. It must be worth mentioning, though, whilst they're in the 4th at the moment, so they have got next week to get their season back on track. As I mentioned, Northern United just showed that you can get back on the horse, so to speak, and start galloping again at the right time. And I think Northern United have proved it, whilst Tweed need to do it now.
Absolutely, and big congratulations to Northern United. They've dug deep. They had a couple of close losses, as you mentioned. Their defence, as you said, Dwayne, is probably the best today as I've ever seen it. And they look like a real good footy team. You know, Alan Roberts, Clarence Kelly, some of their senior guys have got these guys going really, really well, and teams will be looking over their shoulder.
Rossi, absolute pleasure being in the box again for you. We'll be doing it again next Sunday.
Look forward to it, mate.
So it's full time here at Crozier Oval, Lismore fan. That's NRRRL action for round 12 in the books here at Crozier Oval in Lismore. Proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au today for all your betting information. Download either on your tablet or phone today and gamble responsibly. Full time at Crozier Oval in Lismore. Northern United getting the 2 points today, and they'll be singing the song with 30 points over Tweed Coast Raiders 10. For the team of Mark Goff Media Sports and the NRRRL, Nathan Cross, I'm Dwayne Neville. Absolute pleasure bringing this coverage here for round 12. We'll see you next week for round 13 of action. Wayne Neville and Nathan Cross signing off from Lismore. Have a good evening.